日本時間31日、ドジャースの佐々木朗希が今季4勝目をかけて先発し、6回途中1失点でマウンドを降りました。この日の佐々木は初回から直球が160キロを超えるなど、力強い投球を披露。球場のファンもその投球に立ち上がって拍手を送る場面がありました。また試合中には、地元実況がデーブ・ロバーツ監督の佐々木はどんなことがあっても逃げないという発言に触れ、その背景を解説しました。実況では、佐々木が幼少期に震災による津波で父親を亡くした過去を紹介。その大きな喪失を乗り越え、野球を心の支えにしながら現在の舞台まで歩んできた経緯が伝えられました。これらの模様を日本語字幕付きでご紹介します。
During this current run, Nomar, the Dodgers' best player, Shohei Ohtani, is also the best player in the world. And he's been on an offensive tear, showing why he is the best player in the world.
Well, early on, people were concerned, like, what's going on with Ohtani? Is it the fact that he's pitching now? Is that changing everything? Why his offense? And we were saying that he doesn't heat up till like May. When the weather heats up, he heats up. I mean, I know what that feels like. I played in a place where it was really cold. So once the weather started getting better, you start feeling good at the plate. And boy, Shohei has been heating up, swinging the bat well his last 14 games. I mean, hitting over 400, just really impressive, driving in runs, just doing all the little things. Oh, and by the way, yeah, he is a stud on the mound as well. He's a pitcher, and boy, he looks like a Cy Young out there.
Yeah, John, I guess we'll add also the best player ever, right? Because, I mean, that's what he has shown. And the thing I love about Shohei is that he never strays away from who he is. You know, a lot of times I've been around other guys and they start thinking a little bit, oh, should I take this pitch? Oh, should I change this? Should I change that? I feel like he's never strayed away from who he is. He's going to look bad sometimes. Yeah, he gets fooled. We all get fooled as hitters, right? But he stays confident. He stays, you know what? You're going to make a mistake eventually. And guess what? Even when you don't make a mistake, I can get singles and doubles off your, pitches on the corner, right? When you're pitching me tough. And he's a confident guy with 2 strikes. So he's just an all-around good hitter, with power. And yeah, like Nomar said, he also pitches pretty well too.
6 no-hit innings, I think, in his last start, and yet you could see frustration on his face because he's such a perfectionist on the mound and also in the batter's box, and he's been awfully good doing both, especially the last few weeks here at Uniqlo Field at Dodger Stadium. Well, as we speak, the Spurs and Thunder are playing Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals. Spurs are up 3 at the half. The winner will advance to play the New York Knicks for the NBA championship. But we know this. Game 7s are the best thing in all of sports. We saw that November 1st last year when the Dodgers beat the Blue Jays. So in the spirit of Game 7s, James, we're going to have a little fun here. Let's say the Dodgers were playing Game 7 tonight. Make a case for Shohei Ohtani to be the starter for Game 7.
Yeah, I mean, my case for him is obviously what he's done this year, a sub-1 ERA. And I really feel like Game 7 left a bad taste in his mouth from the pitching perspective, right? Gave up the big home run to Bichette. So I really feel like he really wants his get back. We've seen it this year. He's got Cy Young on the mind right now, as long as he can keep giving us innings, which he has been. So that's really my case for him. He's got, electric stuff. He's, top 3 pitcher stuff out there. And I just really feel like he is the guy that I want out there to get Game 7.
And he was making last year's start on short rest. Nomar, you get a chance to make a case for Yoshinobu Yamamoto. This shouldn't be difficult.
He was World Series MVP, John, and rightly so. I mean, we've seen Yoshi pitch in big games since he's put in that Dodger. He pitched in big games over there in Japan. So nothing phases him. He seems to even get better the bigger the occasion. I remember the first time when they were Dodgers were going to Yankee Stadium, like, oh, here's a real big test for him. And he shut them down, and it was like nothing. And then we saw it in the postseason. We saw it in the World Series last year, all the way to taking it to pitch in back-to-back days. Say, listen, we are winning this. Losing is not an option. Right. I mean, holy smokes, that's his mantra, and we know that. So that's why I got to be Yoshi taking the mound.
He pretty much pitched every game. At least it felt that way in last year's Fall Classic. We're going to the offensive side now. Let's suppose it's a hypothetical Game 7 tonight. James, we're in extra innings. Who do you want at the plate in the tie game in the extra innings?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Shohei Ohtani. I mean, the only 50-50 guy, and a guy that can just drive the ball out of the stadium at any me point when I feel like he wants to, because he just covers so much of the plate. And we've seen him go oppo. We've seen him pull the ball. This is a guy that also processes well. I've seen him take at bats. Okay, he got me on that pitch. And I've seen him go up there and say, okay, I got that same pitch. I know exactly what to do with it. You're not going to keep getting me out the same ways. And that's how the best hitters stay in the big leagues.
Dave Roberts has continued to say that one of the things that's impressed him about Sasaki is that he doesn't run from challenges. That he's proved himself already doing that, the way he bounced back last year, came back to pitch in the postseason. And no kind of adversity that he goes through on a baseball field is ever going to come close to what he went through as a kid. And so when you see him continue to bounce back like this is really no big deal. Starts the first out of the fifth. When Roki was in third grade, he's at school. It's a Friday afternoon. The walls started to shake. There's an earthquake. And in the village that he lived in, Rikuzen Takado is the name of the village, the fishing village. They knew that an earthquake was bad news, but the worst news was what could follow. Sirens start going off. That means there's a good chance there's a tsunami coming. So the drill at the school was the sirens go off. The teachers rush all the kids to this hill that's behind the school. They get all the kids up there. But about a half an hour after the earthquake, a 50-foot wave wipes out his entire village. So the kids are safe because they're up on this hill, but they're about the only ones. 1,800 people lost their lives. He lost his grandparents, who he was very close with. He lost his father. He lost his house. The entire town got wiped away. So he loses everything, right? I mean, he loses everything that every kid has. Strikes out Real Muto. 2 gone in the 5th. Nothing left of the town. Mom has no choice but to move him and his brothers. So they move. And that's when he starts playing baseball. Baseball becomes his escape. It becomes, he says, the one place where I could lose myself, where I could forget about everything. And so much of who he is these days defined by what he went through. The success, the failures. And the failures, they just seem smaller to a guy who's been through something like that. That day 15 years ago now, life-changing, life-defining for Roki. Adolis Garcia pops it up, right side of the diamond, Freddie Freeman, Will Smith. It'll be Will Smith to finish off a 1-2-3 fifth, and we're halfway home in Los Angeles.
Shohei Ohtani hit a leadoff home run, pitched 6+ innings, finished with no hits allowed. No other MLB player in the modern era has accomplished both feats over the course of his entire career, same game or not. I realize exhausting for some people when we sit here and we say Shohei and everybody rolls their eyes because they realize that quickly means that we're going to be talking about Shohei yet again. I don't think you can talk about Shohei enough, Caroline. It's just beyond any doubt at this point that he's the single greatest baseball player I'll ever see in my life, and whatever praise we're giving him, he deserves more.
And after the game, he talked about how disappointed he was in his performance because he walked 4 batters. He struck out 12 and hit a leadoff home run. Like, he's doing things. It feels like every night that he's out there on the mound. Feels like every week we have a new Shohei did something that nobody has ever done in the history of baseball. Or Shohei just did something that hasn't been done since Babe Ruth did it. So he's not just changing the history books in Major League Baseball. He's breaking all of our brains in the process. Because it is really just, frankly, so difficult for me to conceptualize how good Shohei Ohtani is at everything. How consistent Shohei Ohtani has been really throughout the entirety of his career. I do think we take it for granted. Because the fact that Shohei Ohtani continues to do things that we've never seen done in the history of this sport, and that's a long history. Baseball's been around. We're not talking about it enough. If it's the leadoff story on SportsCenter, we're not talking about it enough. And Fitzy, I really wish that I did have this new, fresh, never been heard before kind of take when it comes to Shohei Ohtani. But all I can say is we are watching history. We will be telling our kids and our grandkids and our great grandkids about how we got to watch Shohei Ohtani, about how we got to witness one of the, if not the greatest baseball players in the history of the sport of baseball. I wish I had something new to offer up. But at the end of the day, all that can really be said about Shohei Ohtani is there's no word in the English language that accurately encapsulates Shohei Ohtani's greatness. And it is simply just a privilege to watch him. You know, the kids out there, they're going to say, oh, she's glazing him. So be it. He deserves it. Shohei Ohtani has very much so deserved every amount of praise that has been heaped upon him. He's terrifying for every other team in baseball, and he is a privilege for every fan of this sport.
At some point, it's no longer just a conversation of Shohei greatness in baseball, and it's just a conversation of Shohei greatness. Because if you want to talk about who's the greatest quarterback of all time, we can talk about Tom Brady. I think many people would say Tom Brady. But there's also a whole generation that would say, well, Joe Montana never lost a Super Bowl. Then there's a whole generation older than that that's going to talk about other quarterbacks most of us don't remember, right? Like, and now there's a new generation that's already saying, well, could Mahomes be the next Brady? Whenever we talk about the greatest quarterbacks of all time, there are multiple quarterbacks in the same bucket to at least pick out, have a debate about, have a conversation about. When you talk about the greatest NBA players of all time, LeBron versus MJ is a debate for a reason. All we have to do is say LeBron versus MJ and everybody loses their mind because there's a whole group of people that will never feel the same about LeBron that they do about Michael Jordan and vice versa. And then there's the accomplished other players to put into the same bucket of the greatest of all time conversations. I don't think you can find anybody that even belongs in the same bucket is what Shohei's doing because he's doing it at two different positions at the same time. Because he's generational at two different things at the same time. Because he's the best we're going to see at two different things at the same time. I don't think this is any longer just a conversation about is Shohei the best baseball player? I think this is now a question of is Shohei the most dominant athlete in his sport that we will ever see? And when it comes to, even if it's just not individual dominance, it's just the fact that what we're seeing is so great at so many different things, at so many different times on a team that is now so accomplished winning championships. Shohei's going to win every individual accolade there is. He's going to win every team accolade you could possibly win. He's going to be that guy in every possible way. And what I don't want to do is normalize that greatness down to a conversation just of where does Shohei rank in the Mount Rushmore of baseball players, because it ain't about that anymore. It's where does Shohei rank in the Mount Rushmore of athletes we've ever seen. And I think it's clear that Shohei is on that mountain. Shohei's sculpture can be done. You can debate everybody else you want to debate. I don't know how the hell you debate. If you're debating individual greatness, individual dominance, individual records, if you're debating memories that will last generations, if you're debating the conversation piece we'll have for generations, all of those debates, Shohei's at the top. I no matter how much we talk about Shohei, we are underselling how much, to me, Shohei Ohtani means to baseball, but also how much Shohei means to pop culture, how much Shohei means to culture around the world, and how much Shohei just means to athletic greatness right now. I don't think anybody living or dead has ever done what Shohei is doing to baseball right now.
Which is why, or one of the reasons why, I kind of roll my eyes at the MLB salary cap, salary floor conversation. Because a big reason why the salary cap conversation has even started is not only just owners that don't want to spend a bunch of money, but it's because the Los Angeles Dodgers have the ability to spend more than anybody else in the league, and they have now become the big bad Dodgers because of it. You know, you win back-to-back championships, and all of a sudden everyone wants the rules changed. And look, the Dodgers have paid everyone more than anyone else can pay, right? We just saw them win a championship and they were like, we just want to pay Kyle Tucker just for funsies. And they did, and they outbid the Mets in the process. So I understand that the spending and the money is a big part of this. But also, I roll my eyes because how much of it is the money and how much of it is The Dodgers have Shohei and you don't. And I understand that the clapback to that could be, well, I mean, the Angels had Shohei and they, didn't even make the postseason. I get that. I think that's more of just the Angels being an abject disaster, more of a disaster than Shohei could ever pull them out of than it is any, knock against Shohei Ohtani. Because if we want to talk about how Shohei is one of the greatest baseball players in the history of the sport, is the most valuable player in Major League Baseball, consistently breaks records and rewrites history books, well, then I think we have to keep that into consideration when we talk about the Dodgers and about what the Dodgers have now been for baseball over the last couple of years. The Dodgers are ruining baseball because of their spending. Sure, okay. But also, the Dodgers have the best player on the planet. And there's no amount of salary cap or salary floor that's going to change that.